Good morning, everybody!
Good morning!
Boker Tov! Happy Purim! It is so great to be together. We're so happy that you're here. I want to tell you a little bit about what to expect this morning, so I'm going to ask for your help in keeping your groggers quiet for a minute. There we go. Let me tell you what we're going to do together this morning and how we're going to share this very silly and fun morning together. In just a minute, we're going to read our Megillah to tell the story of Purim. After that, we're going to invite you to enjoy our spiel, and after the spiel, we'll be together for the Purim Carnival. That's right. So we're about to hear the story of the Megillah, the story about a Jewish community in terrible trouble. You know, there are some years that this story feels especially relevant, and some years that it doesn't. But every year when we hear this story about a Jewish community being in trouble, it's really important to remember that the hero of the story, Queen Esther, is the most important person in the story because she saved her people by remembering who she was, and even when she was scared, she stood up for the other members of her people to protect them and make sure they stayed safe. That's the story we're going to tell this morning. And like we do every year we hear the Megillah, we have a couple of things we do when we hear the names of people in our Purim story. Here in our Emmanuel community, we do this a little bit differently because we don't just make noise when we hear one person's name. We hear noise when we hear all kinds of different names in the Purim story. So I'm going to ask you to listen carefully to these instructions about what to do when you hear these names and titles in the Megillah. One of the characters in the story is King Ahasuerus. So every time you hear us say the word king, you're going to go like this. Do, 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 like you're playing a trumpet when the king walks in. Let's try it. Once upon a time, there was a king. Oh, yeah, that's true. The pinky is very important. Do, 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 do. Very good, very good. Okay, another character in the story is our friend Mordecai. What? Oh my gosh, some of you know it already. When we say Mordecai, you're going to say, Mordecai, what a guy. That's really good. So let's try that. There was also a person named Mordecai.
Mordecai, what a guy.
And he hung out with the king. That's so good. We also have one of my favorite characters in the story, our friend Queen Vashti. Yeah, that is absolutely right. So for this one, you sort of got to loosen up your neck a little bit because you got to do some sort of head rolls, okay? Everybody ready? So when we hear Queen Vashti's name, you're going to go like this. You go, girl. All right? Everybody ready? You loosened up a little bit? You got the shoulders and the neck going? Okay. There's a story about Queen Vashti.
You go, girl.
You're so good. And she hung out with Mordecai.
Mordecai, what a guy.
They all hung out with the king. Really good. Okay, and now the hero of our story, Queen Esther. Aww. We just feel our hearts moved when we hear Esther's name. But what's going to happen is the way we're going to sigh in delight when we hear Esther's name is you're just going to follow my hand. So I'm going to go Esther, and you'll go, ah. Really good. We'll try that one more time. Queen Esther. That's so great. Queen Esther. You got it. Perfect. Mordecai.
Mordecai, what a guy.
And the king. And Queen Vashti.
You go, girl.
Oh my gosh, you're so good. All right, there is one more person in this story whose name everybody knows because his is the name that we make a terrible loud noise to blot out whenever we hear it. So that is right. I didn't even say it yet. Good. All right, so you got to watch the stop sign. When you hear that name, you're going to need to blot it out with your grogger. You're going to need a grogger. Do you have a grogger?
I have a grogger.
Do you have a grogger? Do you have a grogger? Amen. Ha! Okay,
Great.
Rabbi Fixer, what do you think about the groggers?
I think we can do better.
You think we can do better?
These are so small.
That's a pretty good grogger.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a pretty good grogger.
Hey, wait, what do you mean?
I mean, I think I can do a little better.
Oh my God!
Oh boy.
How about that?
Oh,
That's a Texas-sized grogger.
yeah.
All right, let's try. I need 2 hands for this. Let's try. All right, let's try one more time. The king. Good. Mordecai.
Mordecai, what a guy.
Right. Queen Vashti.
You go, girl.
Queen Esther.
Ah.
And Haman.
Yeah. Oh, that was terrible stopping.
I think we shouldn't use it.
Absolutely deafening.
And
Okay.
that's how we have
Everybody
hearing
knows what
loss.
they're doing. Let
Okay.
us hear the story of the Megillah, which will begin with blessing.
With blessing.
Whew.
B'mayan baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavotenu le'ivotenu bayamim ha'im bazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. All right, you really have to listen to the Hebrew. Okay, here we go. Bayamim ha'im keshevet hamelech Achashverosh al kisei malchuto asher beshushan habira bishnat shalosh lemalcho asa mishte lechosarav avadav chel paras umadai apartemim v'sarei hamedinot lefanav beharoto et osher kevod malchuto ve'et yakar tiferet gedulato Yamim Rabim Shmonim U'Me'at Yom.
Once upon a time in a town called Shushan, there was a king. Right, his name was Ahasuerus, and he and his queen Vashti
You go, girl.
lived in a big fancy palace, and he felt very, very proud of himself. At the same time, in the same kingdom, there was a man named Mordecai.
Mordecai, what a
He
guy.
was a good man who always tried to help other people and do the right thing. Mordecai
Mordecai, what a guy.
lived with his niece Esther.
Ah.
She was very clever, and they liked eating challah and lighting Hanukkah candles and doing all the same Jewish things that you do because they were Jewish just like us. One day, the king decided that his big fancy palace wasn't enough to make him happy. Even his beloved wife Vashti
You go, girl.
made him feel bored, and he thought that he needed a new queen to come and live with him in the palace. So he sent poor Vashti
You go, girl.
away, and soon he laid his eyes on Esther
Ah.
and decided that she was the one that he liked most of all. So Esther
Ah.
said goodbye to Mordecai
Mordecai, what a guy.
and moved into the palace with the king. But she didn't tell him that she was Jewish. Now, there was another man who worked for the king, who was not anywhere near as nice as Mordecai.
Mordecai, what a
In
guy.
fact, he was mean and evil, and his name was Haman. And he expected everyone to do exactly what he told them to do, even to bow down when he walked by, and he got very angry if someone didn't. One day, Haman met Mordecai,
Mordecai, what a guy.
and Mordecai
Mordecai, what a guy.
would not bow down to him. And this made Haman furious. Oh, he was so mad, and he went to the king, and he said, those Jews act very differently from everyone else. I think you should get rid of them all.
Vayar Haman Ki ein Mordechai
Mordecai, what a guy.
Koreu mishtachave lo
Mordechai, what a guy!
Levado ki higidu lo et am Mordechai.
Mordechai, what a guy!
Vayivakish Haman leashmid et kol haYehudim asher bechol malchut Achashverosh am Mordechai.
Mordechai, what a guy!
The king didn't know what Haman
Sorry.
was talking about, but he liked him, so he agreed with Haman. Plans to get rid of Mordecai.
Mordechai, what a guy!
And Esther
Am I doing that? Okay. All right.
Okay.
and all the Jews of Shushan. Mordecai
Mordechai, what a
heard
guy!
about the plan and sent a message to Esther. We need your help. Please talk to the king. And ask him to stop Haman. Queen Esther, who was very brave and very clever, made a special dinner for the king with all his favorite foods. Then she invited the king and Haman to come for dinner. The dinner was so delicious, and after the king finished eating, he said, "How can I ever thank you, Esther? I will grant you any wish you ask." This was just what Queen Esther was waiting for. "Oh, please, Your Majesty," she said, "I need you to help me and my uncle Mordecai.
Mordechai, what a guy!
And all our Jewish friends and family, because someone wants to get rid of all of us." "That's terrible," said the king, because he really loved Esther. Who would do such a terrible thing? Esther pointed at Haman and said, "It's him! The person who wants to get rid of all Shushan's Jews is Haman." "Oh no," said the king. And he got very angry. He called to his guards and said, "Leave the Jews alone and get rid of Haman instead."
Vayomer HaMelech Achashverosh vayomer leEsther Lamalka vihu ze vezehu Asher mela'o libo la'asot kein Vatomer Esther Ish tzar ve'oyev Haman Harazeh ve'Haman Nivat milifnei HaMelech והמלכה והמלך קם בחמתו ממשתה היין אל גינת הביתן והמן עמד לבקש את נפשו מאסתר המלכה כי ראה כי חלתה אליו הרעה מאת המלך.
Okay, then the king asked Mordecai
Mordechai, what a guy!
to take over Haman's job. Right. And Mordecai
Mordechai, what a guy!
did a wonderful job working for the king. And every year after that people baked cookies shaped like the hat worn by the guy who was the bad guy in the story, who always made trouble. And he wore this triangle-shaped hat. And everybody hated him. So much, that when they said, "Hey, men!"
That's a workout.
It's getting hot.
And every time they ate those triangle-shaped cookies, they remembered how the lovely and clever Queen Esther had saved the day, and how grateful they were that everyone in Shushan lived happily ever after except Queen Vashti.
You go, girl.
The end!
Yay! And now, a little blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, harav et rivenu ve'adan et dinenu, ve'anivra lanu mikol tzarenu. Baruch atah Adonai ha'il ha'moshiach.
Amen.
All right, well, a few thank yous before we begin the next part of our Purim festivities. I would just like to thank the cast and the crew of our spiel for being so amazing. I would like to thank Shira Moses for running the slides. I would like to thank my youth choir and my volunteer choir. You are all so amazing. And while I'm thanking you, you should all take your places on the bima here. I would like to thank the AV crew. They're the best for making us sound good. And the Healthman staff and religious school committee for all of their help with the carnival, which is going to be so fun. And I would like to thank our maintenance team and our security team for doing so much work to make everything work today. And I also just want to thank all of you for being here. We are so glad to have you.